Hi, my name is Matthew Hurt, and I teach English, composition, literature, and film here at Parkland College. Today I want to talk a little bit about using video in online courses. As I said, I teach film at Parkland, and I'm teaching it in an online class this semester. So I want to talk a bit about my experiences of using video files in that online course. First, we want to answer the question, why video? Well, video gives students more of a sense of who you are, a living, breathing human behind the machine. Video can also help the instructor better reach students whose learning styles aren't particularly well served by the very text-based nature of online courses. And finally, video allows the instructor to draw on skills developed in classroom teaching. Now first, video files can give students more of a sense of who you are, a sense of a living, breathing human being behind the machine. In my online film appreciation course this semester, I prepared a short, simple introductory video welcoming students to the class and going over some basic procedures. Several students emailed me thanking me for that short video. It was very easy to put together. I put it together with a camcorder in my office and used Windows Movie Maker on my computer. It took about a half hour to put together, and I think it really made a difference for some of the students. One student, for instance, and this is a typical kind of response, I enjoyed the video introduction. I've taken a few online courses now, and it's nice to be able to put a voice with the name and face. Let's take a quick look at part of that video.
Hello again, everybody. I've enjoyed the forum discussions on North by Northwest over the last week. As you know, there's no new film for this week. We'll just continue discussing North by Northwest. I'd be particularly interested in hearing your thoughts about the film's political message, if there is one, if you can find one. Most of you agreed that the film adheres very closely to the conventions of the classical Hollywood narrative that Prince discusses in Chapter 7.
Okay, so you can see there nothing fancy, just me sitting at my desk talking to the camera. But I think the students do get a good sense of who you are and what you look like, the sound of your voice. And I think that can bring a little bit of the human element to an online class. Parkland prides itself on the high levels of interaction between students and teachers here in all of our courses. And in online courses, most of that interaction occurs textually. That is email messages, discussion forum posts, documents that we put up on the web, on the Angel site and ask students to download. Adding some video into the mix, I think, can really enhance the sense of real human interaction that some students may miss. Now, of course, it's not real interaction. It's still a one-way delivery system, right? They can't talk back to the video unless you're using a video conferencing software or something like that in real time. However, the sense of a real human sitting there talking and keeping up with the class, I think, can add something important to the online environment. Using video also allows the instructor to better reach students whose learning styles aren't particularly well served by the heavily text-based nature of online courses. Using a video for a film class was kind of a no-brainer, but the use of video doesn't have to be determined purely by the subject matter. For instance, a math teacher solving an equation, a literature teacher holding a book and reading a poem out loud. These don't necessarily seem like very likely candidates for a video, and they're certainly not going to win any Oscars, but seeing these things, a student seeing a math teacher solve a problem on the whiteboard or on the computer screen or just on a piece of paper with a pencil. Visual learners can often help better connect with the lesson by seeing these things done. And in a literature class, poems were oftentimes meant to be read out loud, and that's difficult in an online environment and even in a traditional classroom where students are just reading the poems or the plays or stories in a textbook. I have found in the course of my teaching of literature, I like to read a lot of this work out loud, to try to bring some life into the text we're reading. And in an online course, I think it works quite well. For instance, I did a short video where I walked students through a sequence from Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest. It's called the cafeteria sequence. A rather famous sequence, but I wanted the students to be able to, I wanted to model for the students how a person analyzing a film would patiently move through the sequence shot by shot, paying attention to all the visual details, the camera movement, the editing, the performance, the set decoration, all of those things. And I got this comment from a student after that. The cafeteria scene you did was really amazing. I wasn't getting a lot of the terms on the study guides, and the book doesn't help me much, so I was thinking of dropping this class. But when I watched that scene, and how you showed what was going on with the camera and all the other stuff, it's starting to make some sense to me now. I hope you can do this more. This seems to me like the perfect example of a student for whom just reading about what a shot reverse shot is, or just reading about what a medium two-shot is not enough. To see it in action and to see a person familiar with these techniques pointing them out on the video screen as the sequence is playing made all the difference. This student was considering dropping the course, but after seeing this very short video, she remained in the class, and so far she's doing quite well. Finally, video allows the instructor to draw on skills developed in classroom teaching. Now, most of us developed our teaching chops in the classroom. Making the transition to online teaching, therefore, can sometimes be a challenge because many of the skills and the skill sets that we've developed over years of teaching, all of a sudden, how do I translate those into an online environment? Well, video can help you do that. Now, any teacher or student can tell you that a transcribed lecture is not the same as the lecture itself. Lecturing, after all, is an act of performance. And video allows us to take advantage of the skills as lecturers that we have developed over years of teaching in the classroom and transfer those skills to the online environment. Now, when I teach film in the classroom, much of our time is spent analyzing the visual construction of cinematic images and sequences. And after 10 years of teaching film, I got pretty good at it. But using still images, just a frame still up on the computer with accompanying text, take a look at this picture, this is what's going on, the camera is here, look at this detail, that works okay. But how could I illustrate and analyze editing techniques, types of camera movement, the effect of shot duration on the effect and the meaning of the sequence, the use of sound, all of this stuff? I couldn't do that just using still images. So, with video, I can do all of this and more. I want to show you another example of a video that I did for my film class. This is called Narrative and Stylistic Innovations in Citizen Kane. It's for Theater 124. I won't show all of it, just a couple of clips of it to get you a sense, give you a sense of what I'm doing.
There are many reasons, perhaps, why Citizen Kane is frequently listed as one of the greatest films ever made in Hollywood, or elsewhere for that matter. Many people praise the film's narrative complexity. The story of Kane is told from multiple points of view within a very complex and layered series of flashbacks, and each version of Kane's life is different depending on who is telling the story. To Thatcher, Kane is an unruly and irresponsible man, throwing away his vast fortune and betraying the interests of his social class. To Bernstein, Kane is an idealistic and admirable man, a friend of the working classes and a principled newspaper man.
Okay, so far we have what you've seen before, just me sitting at my desk talking to the camera, walking students through a lesson, some important information about the film Citizen Kane that I really want them to understand and retain. But I also took the opportunity to be able to walk them through some sequences, and I'll see if I can call that up on the screen now so you can see how I did that.
And the background. And we get a dissolve and a zoom in to a close-up of the words on the pages of Thatcher's memoir. and the words and the page gradually dissolve into the white snow, the snowy landscape of Charlie playing on his sled outside a boarding house in Colorado. Quick cut to establish the location, this Kane's boarding house. Cut back to Charlie playing in the snow. Now the camera, now is obviously inside the house, begins tracking backwards to introduce Mrs. Kane, Mr. Thatcher, and Mr. Kane. Notice the camera keeps tracking back. There are no edits in the sequence from this point on. The camera accommodates Mrs. Kane as she moves into the extreme foreground with Mr. Thatcher. Mr. Kane off to screen left, looking fairly cramped up and oppressed by the dark ceiling above him, framed by the doorway. Notice Charlie playing in the snow is in crisp, clear focus through the open window. And ironically, during the sequence, you can hear Charlie calling, "The Union forever," an ironic commentary given the fact that his mother is in the process of signing Charlie away.
As you heard, my colleague's telephone began ringing while I was recording this sequence in my office. Those sorts of things can happen, just like they can happen in the classroom, unexpected things. Well, I hope that this presentation has inspired you to perhaps try to think about incorporating video files in your own online courses. I will be preparing also another video walking people through the process of how I go about doing them. As I said, I use a camcorder in my office, Windows Movie Maker on my computer. It's a rather simple, straightforward process. So I hope that we'll start seeing a lot more video files in Parkland online courses in the future. Thanks a lot.